Okay, but I like some of his policies, but we disagree on climate change. Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't mean I can't go talk to him. It
Yeah.
just, it's so, and you watch some of these people and their minds blow up because they can't fathom the fact that you could, agree with somebody on some things, but disagree with that same
Somebody on
person on other
yeah.
things.
And see,
Like,
that's
how
the whole
hard is that to wrap your mind around, guys? Come
the whole
on.
problem with society right now is that problem.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Brothers Random Show. My name is Travis,
I'm Michael.
and we are two ordinary brothers discussing extraordinary ideas and some random shit. So the topics on the show range from theology, masculinity, stories, movies, philosophy, books, pop culture, and many other subjects. We often talk about the people that we admire and the wisdom they share. People such as Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who we believe is the sage of our time. Michael, why are we here?
Today we're talking about an interview that Elon Musk did, storming the internet. Everybody's got their take, so we figure we'd throw our hat in the ring. But it was the New York Times book summit. Annual DealBook Summit, where Andrew Sorkin was interviewing him, and he said something that was, took the internet by storm, which was basically if advertisers on his platform X want to bribe him with money or blackmail him by saying that he shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that, by bribing him that they may take their advertising money off of his platform, he tells them to fuck themselves.
You will.
Yeah.
That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger
I hope
today.
they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting because he it's sorted language, obviously. They're not used to that. It's a professional setting. They're not used to that. Basically the book deal summit.
Andrew's reaction where he's just like,
Oh,
it's just, you could hear
silence.
a pin drop. Everybody just stops. Pin drop. And then he's like, but
He's like, so I should say what the book deal summit is, it's called the DealBook Summit, is a major annual event held by the New York Times that invites the world's most influential leaders, elites in politics and business and culture to share their views and experiences. That's according to Google search. Now, the problem with that all is that it actually says that it's elites. So these are the cream of the crop, the top people, the earners and burners. They are basically a room full of assholes. And in that room full of assholes, there's Elon Musk, who's at the top and is basically saying freedom of speech is important. So that's what he was trying to get at. He was actually saying, don't blackmail me into saying what you want me to say. That's what he was trying to get at. Mm-hmm. So it was very an interesting interview because Andrew Ross Sorkin, who's a moderator, is obviously obsessed with one thing and trying to get one thing out of him. He keeps talking about power. He keeps talking about, are you using your power unjustly or unfairly? And Elon Musk, it's obvious to me that he's trying to say, no, we need free speech as a society. And there's too many elites, everybody in that room going, no, the little people don't deserve to have a voice. And that's what he was trying.
The left is they're still always like trying to come. And I think sometimes they really do come at it from a good place. But like Elon says in this interview, if if you cancel that guy saying that he can't say that, it's only a matter of time before that's double-edged sword comes back on yourself, and you're the one that
and freedom of speech, you have to say, when is it relevant? It's only relevant when someone you don't like can say something you don't like, or it has no meaning. And as soon as you sort of, throw in the towel and concede to censorship, it is only a matter of time before someone censors you. And that is why.
The interesting thing also is that he tells these advertisers to go F themselves, and then
specifically calls out Bob Iger. Yeah. Hi, Bob. So
if you're in the audience,
yeah,
he just straight up.
So if you don't know what happened, Elon Musk tweeted something that, taking out of context, could be seen as anti-Semitic, because he made a kind of a generalization about Jewish organizations that claimed to be for Jewish people, and then also provide money for terrorist organizations.
Two organizations that actually want to see the demise of the Jewish people.
The Jewish state, we should say.
Yeah.
So, and he was calling that out, and it came across like he might have been just calling out Jewish people in general. And anyway, you can look these up. It's very easy to find. Everybody lost their shit over it. And he went to Israel after.
Well, he claims that he had that trip scheduled
before
now.
Who knows?
I mean,
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, because I think he's really all about truth. I think so there's things
he doesn't lie.
Hopefully he doesn't lie, but there's no way to really tell. But anyway, so the interviewer, Sorkin, kept kind of hounding him about this, kept going, well, you made these tweets, and then you clarified these tweets, and is there any way that we could, and he was kind of making excuses for Disney pulling their advertising, because Disney pulled their advertising right after that. And he was like, no, I don't want to be shut up. He was basically saying, I don't believe that's right. And he said, you can't blackmail me with advertising money. And then he was like, hi, Bob, calling out Bob Iger. Now, and then what was really interesting is that he goes, the interviewer goes, well, don't you think, like, he said something along the lines of, who's going to be the judge of that? He said, the public will be the judge of it. And we will tell.
He says Earth.
He says Earth.
A lot of people thought that was really weird, that he was referring to the world as Earth. Yeah. Anyway, there were a few things, like it made me wonder if he wasn't quite on his game.
They do mention that it was recorded.
Says, I wanted to do this interview because I'm your friend, Jonathan.
And his name is Andrew.
My name's Andrew. Oh, whoops.
Well,
see, I say things that I put my foot in my mouth all the time. Like, he's just like,
he's human. He's a human being. So it's like, it's not like he's, and I mean, he's got like some form of what is it? Autistic spectrum too. So it's like, he's not going to always say what's right. But what was interesting is that the interviewer kept kind of hounding him and going, well, isn't it okay that they do that? And then when he said, no, go F yourself, because he's like, I don't need to be blackmailed to say the things that you want me to say. And he's like, and then Sorkin's like, well, and then he's quiet. Like, he just shut up, because the New York Times is beholden to advertisers, specifically like big pharma advertisers, which is why they didn't call out and Elon Musk says there's a conflict of interest with almost everybody. And he's like, but except for X. He's like, that's free. Anybody can get on there. Anybody can say anything on Twitter or, X now. And so that's what he was trying to get at. He's like, all these news organizations, they're beholden to their stock the holders. They're beholden to the corporation that owns them, and he's like, but this needs to be a place where they're not beholden to anybody, so anybody can say anything on it. And he's like, and blackmailing me with advertisements. He's like, yeah, it might put the company out of business, but at least the world will know.
That was interesting. He's like, this, and it sounds like he's pretty sure that it will. He said that this will probably put the company out of business. And he's like, it was almost a call to the fight a little bit. Like, let's fight this. I'm going to document all of this boycotting of my platform. And we will, when this company is destroyed by this pull of advertisements, and it sounds like he's pretty convinced that it will destroy the company. Now, maybe not. They might be able to pull it out.
I did a little bit of research, not a lot. I don't have numbers, but since this happened, a lot of people went to Disney Plus and got rid of their subscription.
There was kind of a boycott of Disney Plus to cancel your subscription.
Well, and here's the thing.
Well, and Disney's not doing great either.
Disney's not doing great either, because they've had 3 flops this year, and nobody is. And everybody's talking about their box office, like everybody, like even people who are on their side, like the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, they're on the side of Disney. They want Disney to succeed, and they're looking at the numbers. And Disney's Marvels came out, the Marvels, whatever it's called, and that was a flop. And Wish is considered a flop because it came out in what should be the highest box office weekend ever, and that's Thanksgiving weekend, because everybody goes and eats, goes shopping, and goes to a movie. That's usually what happens. And Wish came out during that time, and it was a flop. It's not. It's like a $200 million movie that's made like $160 million. So, and Marvels is the same way. And, Indiana Jones, this summer was a flop. I mean, it's a flop in perspective, I guess, because, they make a lot of money still, but they also cost a fortune, like a massive amount of money. And Disney isn't recouping its costs on these movies. So, and he mentions that in he's like, well, Aaron Sorkin goes, well, what are you saying, that everybody should boycott Disney? He's like, it's already happening. It's happening now. People are boycotting Disney. He's like, the public is speaking, right? And he's like, and I guess the public, he's like, the public is going to be the judge. He's like, if the public gets off of X and the advertisements are gone, this company will die. And he's like, and I'm going to document every moment of it, which is, it's hard to say it's a baller move, because he did say a bunch of dumb shit in the interview, like, so who knows? I mean, but at least he's one elitist probably the only one in that room who was going, oh, free speech is really, really important.
I was listening to the Young Turks, and they were, for those who don't know, very leftist program. But they were actually saying that they loved what he said as well.
And he's super salty about it. It's pretty clear in the video that you saw. And we're going to watch a little more in just a moment. But Cenk, I'm curious what you think, because even me, like, I see that there's a huge part of me that thinks like, yeah, because the advertisers, they're super scared, they're terrified of their precious brands, right? And so because of that model being baked into media, and yes, in this case, social media platforms, it ends up watering down news analysis, comments that people want to make about various things happening both domestically and internationally. So I understand the frustration toward people who are tired of that, right? But at the same time,
in a couple of senses, one is that Young Turks hates big business involvement, right? They hate the fact that big business is pulling the strings behind the curtains so much
of our politics and just about everything.
Yeah.
At this point.
And so they kind of liked that somebody was saying F you to the powers that be a little bit. So they were that. Now the thing is they don't like Elon because he has
because he bought
has
Twitter.
a history of supporting right-wing politics a little bit, just because it's the right that is supporting freedom of speech.
I don't know why this is a right and left thing, because everybody should be supporting freedom of speech.
Right. And he even says that in the interview, that it used to be, I mean, historically, it's been the left that's been against censorship.
We've swapped. Basically, the right is all about freedom of speech now, and the left wants to shut things down. And and this is an ongoing battle. Everybody loves Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter is the biggest thing ever. When it originally came out, I think it was the third or fourth book, it was starting to climb. Christian groups started wanting to censor Harry Potter, right? They were saying it's witchcraft and gets rid of God and all this kind of stuff. The truth is it's just a good story, but it's been around long enough that now the left is censoring it because of J.K. Rowling's beliefs on transgenderism.
Yeah.
So she's actually lived a life where the right was trying to censor her, and now the left is trying to censor her. And it's like we've just swapped. So one religion has been supplanted by another religion, and that's where we find ourselves.
Exactly, to Elon Musk's point, which is if we allow censorship for your side, then eventually that censorship will turn around and censor the other side, right? It's just going to, it's so the best policy is to have a
freedom of speech platform,
freedom of speech kind of, I mean, I hate to use the word absolutism, but it's a little on the absolutist side, right? And so
if you were to take his companies, right, the Elon Musk companies, X and SpaceX and Tesla, and he is considered to be one of the richest men in the world, and pit it against another massive corporation, which is Disney. Disney, I think at this point, it owns like something like 70% of all intellectual properties at this point, of all highly successful intellectual properties. So, and they've pretty much pummeled it into the ground.
Well, we don't know. I mean, Disney's got a lot of
deep pockets.
Yeah, the deep pockets. So
they might be able to come back from this.
If we're being honest, Elon Musk could, I mean, X could bankrupt and he'd probably still be fine.
Oh yeah,
right?
he'll
not
be
wrong
fine.
In the fact that Tesla sells the most electric cars, all the other car companies combined, more than any of them.
Yeah. Which is this is so weird because so the left has a hard time with this guy because he's essentially an ally, right? Because if you're on the left, you've got all these mantras, right? You know, you're all about saving the earth, you're all about, you know, freedom,
climate change.
Yeah, you're all about climate change, you're all about that. You're excuse me, you're all about gender fluidity, and you're all about all these woke causes, right? So, and he's a guy that has achieved a woke cause, which is basically decreased, you know, emissions through electric cars.
Mm-hmm.
And he's learned how to manufacture that and get that out there to the masses, right? You and I will never own a Tesla because, you know, they're only for the elites. But the point,
I could see myself owning a Tesla if I wanted to. It's possible. I was talking to a Ford dealership, and they said that a lot of Teslas come in and trade their Teslas for an F-150, mainly because they try pulling something with their Tesla, and it doesn't work out so good. So,
well, the Cybertruck is supposed to be coming out pretty soon too. So there's that.
Yeah, hopefully that does well. The thing is so he's the interviewer asks him about supporting the right. Vivek Ramaswamy, apparently Elon went and met him.
Yeah.
He went and met him or something, did some kind of event with him. And the interviewer was like, well, he says that climate change is a farce. And he's like, well, I disagree with him on that. Right.
And he's like, but I'm not allowed to go to his events.
Yes. It's like
why?
The fact that where did we get to a place where we've
put
can't
people
talk
in a
to
box.
Anybody? Yeah.
You can only stay in this box.
We can't talk to anybody that we disagree with. Oh, we disagree with okay, but I like some of his policies, but we disagree on climate change. Okay, well, I mean, that doesn't mean I can't go talk to him. But it's so, and you watch some of these people and their minds blow up because they can't fathom the fact that you could, you know, agree with somebody on some things, but disagree with that same person on other things.
And see, that's
how hard is that to wrap your mind around, guys? Come on.
The whole problem with society right now is that problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just said that you were listening to the Young Turks, and it's like,
yeah,
does that make you left? No,
right?
It's like, I just wanted to see what they're up to, what they believe in.
Their opinion was on it. Yeah. I want to see what they had to say on it.
What they had to say on it. Yeah. And so we're inundated. I think the internet has made this worse, and specifically social media, because it's basically you should stay in your lane. You know, you can only be this person. You can only listen to this person. And Elon kind of flies in the face of that, right? Because he's the owner of the biggest electric car company in the world, and yet he's still advocating for freedom of speech. So the same person who's going to buy the electric car to save the planet is somebody who does not want freedom of speech.
Right.
It's like, and he flies in the face of that. He goes, no, we all need freedom of speech, because one person's censorship is another person's freedom of speech. So if you're censoring this person, you're going to end up censoring everybody at some point.
And he talks a little bit to the fact that Joe Biden, he's like, on other platforms, Elon has said that he voted for Joe Biden. So let's throw that out there. He voted for Joe Biden. And within 6 months of his presidency, he had a electric vehicle summit at the White House. Joe Biden did.
And did not invite the main guy who
distinctly kept Tesla from coming. Like,
what does that say?
Exactly. So basically the White House had painted Elon Musk into a box and didn't want him there. And then he says, adding insult to injury, he said that GM is leading the way in electric vehicle sales when
that's not true.
29,000 in that quarter they sold electric vehicles, and Tesla did 300,000. Like, I mean, and Elon said, I mean, 70 something thousand employees in the US, right? Another probably 70 something thousand
outside
employees outside the US. And he's like, hey, we're an American company that employs a lot of people, and here Biden is dissing on us, right? Lying
about the truth of that, saying that GM was in charge of it. He's like, no, or GM was leading the way.
Yeah, the big dog on campus.
And I mean, I'm sure you can look all of that up and fact checked all of that. But the truth is that I think Elon Musk, I think a lot of people thought that they were getting one type of White House when Biden came in, and they did not get that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee most intelligent thought igniting people on the left, people who voted for Biden, are sitting here going, what the hell did we just get into the White House?
Yeah, well, it's like Sam Harris, putting his stamp of approval on Biden, saying, I'm glad that we finally have what was it?
Adults in the room or something like that.
Right? Adults in the room. I'm glad that we finally have adults in the room. And then literally he retweeted after the Afghanistan pullout debacle.
Yeah.
He retweeted his tweet and said, I am eating my words publicly here.
Whoa.
Now tweeted, X'd, whatever.
Sam Harris actually did that, huh? Good for him.
Yeah. You didn't know
that?
No,
I didn't know this. I did not know this.
Yeah. He's like, publicly eating my words right here. Now, I think this was right before he just exited out of social media
completely, which is probably wise, especially a man in his positions. But that is interesting that he actually kind of admitted, oh, hey, this isn't a good president. This guy really royally fucked up.
So to Sam's credit of the fact that he got on board, was like, okay, this guy is the right decision to. Now Sam is a little bit orange man. What's the
orange man bad?
Well, it's orange man bad, but a little bit delusional, with Trump's derangement syndrome, where anything Trump, no matter what, we hate him. We hate what he does. Doesn't matter if it's good for the economy. Doesn't matter anything. We just orange man bad. Now, so the fact that he was able to admit to, okay, guys, this is a problem. But maybe then also
old man bad now too.
But now Elon is getting asked. Andrew asks him, he's like, would you vote for Biden if it was him and Trump? And Andrew never comes right out and gets into bad orange man bad stuff, but it's apparent in his questioning.
Yeah.
But he basically,
Elon admits to not wanting to vote for either one of them, which I think is where everybody is.
A lot of people are like,
a lot of people are there. A lot of people are like, no, I don't really want Trump back. I want him back, his economy back, but nobody wants anything else back. And then nobody wants Joe Biden either, because Joe Biden's a shit show. His whole presidency is a shit show.
And so, but he
think,
says he's definitely not voting for Biden, which makes sense, especially on some of those things, right? Not being invited to the EV summit, electric vehicle summit, like,
yeah,
there's a lot of things.
Invite the leading electrical vehicle company to the EV summit. It's like,
yeah,
what?
But it's because of the new way politics are going. No one's allowed to hold two ideas at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. It's like
from opposite views.
You can't be a supporter of free speech and you can't believe that climate change is real in the same stroke, right? Like you have to toe the line on all the talking points. And who was it that was talking about this? That, like, literally, I want to say Chris Williamson was one talking about this, but literally, if you can tell me your stance on one thing and I can guess with like 95% accuracy your stance on everything else, that's a problem, right? If you can tell me your stance on climate change, and literally, because the way the nature of everything right now, I can know your stance on gun control, literally, just because that polarization has happened so much that I can now, with 95% accuracy, I can guess your stance on gun control, on freedom of speech, on censorship, on who you probably voted for, on taxes, right? Like, I can, that's
that's the problem with Joe Rogan too, is like everybody's kind of like, oh, he's for guns. Well, Joe Rogan's also for choice abortion.
Yeah.
But
freedom of choice,
a freedom of choice. But on average, a person who believes in in the First or Second Amendment, they're also against abortion.
Yeah.
Where Joe is for one and not for for both. And so it's like, we can't keep doing this. There's too much of society that's like this. Like, the polarization in politics is not the polarization in society in general. Because if you meet one, like, that is a bad thing. If you meet a person who's for abortion, you can pretty much guess what else they're for on what other issues they're for. And that's I guess that is a big issue. But I think, again, that's probably the result of social media, right?
That's probably a big part of it. Social media probably plays a big part of it. The AI algorithms feed you
what you want,
is going to keep you on the platform. So it's what is going to catch your attention, right? So the fact that the AI algorithms keep feeding you what you want to hear,
you probably had to find the Young Turks. You had to go look for it, whereas the algorithm wasn't giving you the Young Turks stuff.
Right. Yeah. Did you notice, this is kind of a crazy off the wall thought, but did you notice on that video by New York Times that comments were turned off? You can't comment on that video.
They've probably shut that off for a while now, though.
Well, it's just interesting to me. I just thought it was an interesting thought because on YouTube you can't comment on that video, because, again, a person who reads the New York Times is not going to be for Elon Musk. I don't know. It's not allowing for the public opinion to voice itself out,
which is what he's talking about. He's talking about censoring everyone.
Yeah. I just thought,
and there he is talking to the elites. And I bet you that he got death stares walking out of there. because so all the elites, so all the small people online, nerdrotic, critical drinker, they hate Bob Iger. They think he's a piece of garbage that's ran every good franchise into the ground. So, but the elites, the people, the business people, they love him.
Bob Iger?
Yeah.
Really?
They love him. Yes. Which is why he was brought back to Disney.
Interesting. After
only being gone for a year. So
we'll see
the
how
point
it pans out.
Well, the point is that you've got a room full of elites that are being shown a mirror. They're being told, you guys are wrong. You freedom of speech should not just be for you. It should be for everyone.
Tell me what you think about this, because I had a thought when watching this video of possibly the best thing that Bob Iger could have done if he was in the audience. Now, okay, so I just think about this. If Bob Iger was in the audience, he didn't say anything, and you could hear the audience in the interview.
Like,
you hear people's phones going off. You hear like something crashes, like it people were probably like bringing in food or something like that. You hear like something and they both kind of look at it and it's like, okay, back to the interview. A lot of stuff was going on. But if Bob Iger was in the audience, what if when he said that, when Elon was like, "Hi, Bob, I don't know if you're in the audience," if Bob had just been like, "Fuck yeah."
He's not the type of guy to do that.
Now, but what that would have done is it would have shown that Bob was up for the challenge.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually think it would have been fun had he done that. And because honestly, we all just want to be kind of entertained.
So you would have preferred that he come on stage.
I think that would have been entertaining had Bob Iger in the audience been like, "All right, I'm here for it. Let's go."
Well, when you're at that level, everything you do will either plummet your stocks or rise your stocks.
Now, I don't know how it all works, but here's the thing. This move, I haven't watched the stocks or anything like that, but this move, my guess is that this was actually probably calculated. Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, just, here's Elon flying off the cuff."
He does that a lot though, right?
Running his mouth, blah, blah, blah. But my guess is that X probably, like, if it goes under, it's probably gonna happen regardless.
Yeah.
And this, something like this could be one of those things where it's a game changer, where
bump it back up.
It might save a company, right?
Yeah.
The right is going to get all behind this and be like, we're sign us up, right? We're ready for this. Even though he never comes out and says he supports the right? Like
he never says it. He just keeps saying, "I support freedom of speech," which has weirdly become a right thing. Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, has anybody on the left never read a book? Like, it's like 1980 or 1984 is happening. We are seeing it happen. Yeah. I don't know.
Have you heard Douglas Murray talk about that? Because apparently they're trying to cancel Orwell because he hated gay people.
Well, there's some.
And Douglas Murray's just like, it doesn't mean it's a not a good book.
Douglas Murray. I love that guy. Speaking of somebody who's very much against, who's probably for gay rights, and you would put him in the vein of not being for the Second Amendment, or not being for being censored speech. He's against all of that, and he's for gay rights as well. Yeah. So it's because he's a gay man. So it's like, what, there's that, right? Freedom of speech may be the most important thing in our society, because everything relies on that. Everything does.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have that, if we cannot if we're shut down from freedom of thought, then nothing else matters. You can't have religion, you can't have gender ideology, you can't have anything if freedom of speech is shut down. And I think people think that Elon isn't altruistic. I think that's his altruism is freedom of speech. He believes in that, I think, deeply.
Yeah.
I think he's the type of person that I don't think his goal is to make X a successful business. He just wants it there for people like you and me to be able to have a voice.
Possibly. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it were to go belly up and like disappear from the public scene. That would be crazy.
That would. Really, really would. It would be sad, I think. Because even YouTube censors.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. And maybe it's a move that he did so that he could get more support from one side. But I think the left is kind of hoping that it does go under. I think they're wanting that to happen.
Yeah. But even the interviewer, Andrew Sorkin, admitted that he spends a lot of time on it as a journalist.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's the type of person that would want censorship, even though he's spending all of his time doing like censorship of certain people. That's the problem, is if you don't want censorship, you're going to have thick skin, because you're going to have to be okay with people coming at you.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, check us out on social media, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on those. Just look for the Sword in the Skull. Also, anybody who is just listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, maybe just do a quick thing. Go over to YouTube and press the like button on our channel, or subscribe button on our channel, because we're trying to grow this, and we would really appreciate your subscription. And on that note, thanks, brother. Keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, learn more. We'll see you.
See ya.
Doing nothing to provoke the Biden administration, they held an electric vehicle summit at the White House and specifically refused to let Tesla attend. This was in the first 6 months of the administration. And we inquired, we literally make more electric cars than everyone else combined. Why are we not allowed? Why are you only letting Ford, GM, Chrysler, and UAW, and you're specifically disallowing us from the EV summit at the White House? We'd done nothing to provoke them. Then Biden went on to add insult to injury and publicly said that GM was leading the electric car revolution. This was in the same quarter that Tesla made 300,000 electric cars and GM made 26.